In the early online era, an airline saw somewhere between 100 and 200 searches for every ticket it sold. Today it is closer to 10,000 to 20,000. OAG's projection for an agent-driven world is 200,000. Same one ticket at the end of it.
200,000 looks for one sale. Somewhere a pricing engine is quietly filing a grievance.
And it has a case.
The entire economics of distribution rests on an assumption that just stopped being true.
Welcome back to the V1 Airline Retailing Report. I'm Eric Markets.
And I'm Steph Nell. We're back to the regular weekly format after 4 straight Mondays of something different.
We are. For 4 weeks we ran a special season called State of the GDS. Part 1, The Foundation. Part 2, Amadeus, Renovating from Strength. Part 3, Sabre, Selling a Limb to Survive. Part 4, Travelport, The Rebuild. If you haven't heard it, start at Part 1. It is not a news series. It is the foundation under every topic in airline retailing right now, and it was built to still make sense a year from now.
And the season ended on one line. Same machine, 3 bets. This week, those 3 bets showed up in the market at the same time, and you can finally see what they are actually aimed at.
3 narratives this week. Like most weeks, they are not a list. They are one argument.
For anyone new, every Monday we take the developments that actually move airline and travel distribution and run each one through the bull case, the bear case, and Eric's critical take, not the press release, the strategic read. Sources are in the episode details.
Narrative 1. The GDS oligopoly stopped running the same playbook. Amadeus, Sabre, and Travelport are now placing 3 genuinely incompatible bets, and we will show you why none of them is actually a bet on the pipe.
Narrative 2 is a follow-up, and I think it is the most important thing we do this week. In episode 8, we said the look-to-book economics were breaking under AI agents, and we left a watch item. 8 weeks later, we can grade it. Somebody answered. Not the somebody we expected, and not the way we hoped.
And narrative 3. The order management system is quietly being named the new center of gravity in retailing, right as a wave of PSS contracts comes up for renewal. The industry is conceding something it spent 30 years denying.
The through line. All 3 are the same story at different altitudes. The pipe is commoditizing, the interface is dissolving, and value is migrating up into the offer layer, which turns out to be 2 jobs, not 1. Building the offer and owning the shelf it lands on. Almost every move this week is a company deciding which of those 2 it can actually win.
Watch the offer layer, not the booking share. Let's get into it. Here are the facts, clean. Travel Distribution News laid out the state of the 3 global distribution systems, and the headline is that they have stopped being interchangeable. On the widely reported estimates, Amadeus holds roughly 40% of global GDS share, Sabre roughly 35%, Travelport roughly a fifth, the same distant third we laid out in Part 4. In February, Amadeus acquired Skylink, a conversational booking system already running tens of thousands of AI-driven bookings, and it is steering Altéa customers toward its own offer and order tooling. In May, Sabre alleged publicly that Amadeus holds a dominant monopoly position in passenger service systems. Sabre is also running the consumer play, Mindtrip with PayPal, and says more than 30 partners are piloting its agentic APIs. And on July 1st, Travelport expanded trip services to more than 400 European agencies, put $50 million behind it, and integrated Anthropic's Model Context Protocol. Its API-driven transaction share has gone from about 43% of customer volume in 2022 to about 63% now.
So 3 companies, 3 completely different answers to the same question. Give me the bull case, because divergence is not automatically bad.
It isn't, and this is a real bull case. For about a decade, the honest description of this sector was all 3 do roughly the same thing, slowly, and compete on rebate size. That is a terrible market for a buyer. What we have now is competition on architecture. Want an open pipe with clean APIs an agent can call? That is a Travelport conversation. Want an integrated stack where the offer engine, the order layer, and the distribution reach come from one vendor? That is an Amadeus conversation. Genuinely different products, genuinely different risk profiles, and you can finally choose on strategy instead of on price. Real architectural choice here is overdue by about 15 years.
And the bear case is that everybody downstream now pays for that choice.
Every bit of it. Travel management companies, online travel agencies, aggregators, corporate booking tools, they used to maintain 3 connections to platforms that were, functionally, the same shape. Now they maintain 3 connections to platforms that are diverging on purpose. That is not a one-time integration cost. It is a permanent, compounding maintenance burden, and it lands hardest on the smallest sellers, who can least afford 3 engineering tracks. The stated goal of every modernization program in this industry is to reduce the cost of intermediation. In the short run, this raises it.
Nothing says modernization like tripling your integration backlog. Give me the critical take.
None of these 3 bets is about the pipe. Everyone in that room knows the pipe is a commodity. But I want to be precise here, because the easy version of this take is wrong, and the correction is the actual insight. They are not all fighting over the same thing. Above the pipe, there are 2 different jobs, and only one of them is a fight all 3 are in.
Separate them for me.
Job 1 is building the offer. The airline's own dynamic, personalized, machine-readable answer to a specific request. Amadeus does that with Nevio and Altea. Sabre does it with Sabre Mosaic. Its own language is offer management that lets airlines define, manage, and retail their content. Job 2 is owning the shelf. Take offers built by many different airlines, normalize them into something comparable, enrich them, and decide what the buyer actually sees. Different job, different skill, and it only happens after the offer exists.
Careful, because that is too clean and you know it. Sabre is not only building. Look at the actual product line. Sabre Mosaic is the airline platform, yes, but there is also Sabre Mosaic Travel Marketplace, and that is a seller-facing product, NDC content from more than 40 carriers, so an agency or an online seller does one integration instead of airline by airline with servicing on the back end. Normalizing many airlines' content into one comparable set that a seller can work in. That is a shelf, by your own definition, sold under Sabre's own name. Then add Mindtrip and PayPal on the consumer end. Sabre is in both columns. So is Amadeus. You have just drawn a map that 2 of the 3 refuse to sit still on.
That is fair, and I would rather say the honest thing than the tidy thing. Anybody with scale plays both. Amadeus plays both. Sabre plays both. This space is genuinely complicated. It is the "it's complicated" relationship status of enterprise software, and anyone handing you a clean 3-box diagram is selling you something. So the useful question is not which column a company sits in. It is which column it is betting the company on.
Then bet them.
Amadeus is not choosing, because it does not have to. It has the balance sheet to fund both, and its whole thesis is that owning construction and distribution together is the moat. Sabre is hedging, and hedging is a real strategy, not a failure. It is what you do when you are mid-rebuild, carrying debt, and cannot fund both at full strength. So it litigates to protect its position in construction and pushes hard on the shelf at the same time. Travel marketplace, agentic APIs, 30-plus partners, Mindtrip. Travelport is the only one that cannot hedge. No airline PSS, no construction business to protect, and a $2 billion debt wall in 2028. 1 column available, all in.
And Travelport having no construction business. Weakness or the point?
I think it is the point, and here's why. Both jobs sit above the pipe, but only one of them is what an AI agent actually talks to. An agent does not ask an airline to construct a bespoke offer out of nothing. It asks a question and expects a comparable setback. That is a shelf request, which is why the market share numbers everybody still quotes, 40, 35, roughly a fifth, are measuring the wrong thing twice over. They measure volume moved last year, and they measure it on the pipe. Travelport is dead last on that scoreboard and has 63% of its traffic on modern APIs, the highest disclosed number of the 3. Smallest share of the thing that is commoditizing. Furthest along on the thing that is not. Having nothing to protect is not always a disadvantage.
So if you take one thing out of this segment, take this. Stop asking who is the biggest GDS. Ask what each one is betting on. and whether it can afford the bet. Amadeus is betting it can own both jobs. Sabre is betting it can stay in both long enough to finish rebuilding. Travelport is betting the shelf is the job that matters, because it does not get a second bet.
And all three still have to answer a machine that does not get tired. Which is where our follow-up comes in, because 8 weeks ago we asked who was going to govern that, and now we have an answer. This is a callback. So let me set it up for anyone who missed it. Episode 8, back in June. We covered Skiff's reporting on a traveler named Kiruba Shankar who wanted one airline ticket, pointed an AI coding agent at the Etihad website, and pulled 881,076 fare options. Every date in a range, every stopover, every route combination, for one ticket. Our argument then was that this was a cost imposed on the airline without a commercial relationship and without permission.
And we closed that segment with a specific watch item. I want to read it back because this is what a follow-up is for. We said the signal that the industry had finally internalized the problem would be the first airline to publish an explicit AI traffic policy, rate limits, API terms governing agent access, or pricing tiers for machine-generated search.
8 weeks. So how did we do?
Partial credit and not from where we were looking. Two things happened. First, OAG put a curve around what was a single anecdote, 100 to 200 searches per ticket in the early online era, 10 to 20,000 today, up to 200,000 in an agent-driven world. That reframes episode 8 entirely. Kiruba Shankar was not a stunt, he was an early sample of the mean. Second, and this is the closest anyone has come to what we asked for, Air France KLM is filtering what an agent gets back rather than letting every permutation spill. Not a published policy, but a carrier deciding deliberately what a machine is allowed to see.
And the answer we did not expect.
Amadeus. And it did not build a policy, it built a workaround. Amadeus is betting on precomputed fares, answering agent-scale search volume by serving prepared answers instead of constructing offers live-y.
Give me the bull case on that, because it is a serious piece of engineering and I do not want to be glib about it.
It is serious and there is a real bull case. Precomputation is how you survive the next 24 months. The volume is coming whether you like it or not. Your pricing engine was sized for humans clicking, and serving a prepared answer is how you stay up. It also opens the better door. Once you accept that a machine will ask you 200,000 times, you have to decide who is asking, what they are entitled to see, and what it costs them. That is an authenticated, metered, contextual offer, API, and it is the most durable control point in distribution because it sits upstream of every channel. Episode 8 framed this as a cost problem, right frame in June, small frame now. This is a control problem.
And the bear case, which I suspect is the reason for the word retreat in the segment title.
It is. A precomputed fare is, by definition, not a dynamic, personalized offer. You cannot precompute context. You cannot precompute who is asking, what they bought last time, what the aircraft looks like tonight, or what bundle would actually convert for this traveller. So the first significant industry answer to the agent era is a partial step back toward the cached fare world that NDC and offer and order existed to escape. 20 years of work to make the offer live and specific, and the response to machine-scale demand is to prepare the answers in advance. And notice the irony we flagged in episode 8 has not gone anywhere. Richer content is heavier to serve. The carriers furthest along on modern retailing still have the most expensive search to run at machine scale. Precomputation relieves the symptom by undoing some of the thing they paid for. 20 years spent making the offer live and personal, and the industry's answer to the future is a very sophisticated leftovers drawer, and nobody has published the policy. 8 weeks on, the watch item is still open.
So what is the take?
The industry is optimizing the cost of the look instead of pricing it. That is the difference between episode 8 and today. In June, the question was, who pays for the search? The answer the market is converging on is that the airline pays, and it pays by making the search cheaper to serve. Engineering answer to a commercial problem, and those have a shelf life. 200,000 searches per sale does not get solved by caching. It gets solved by someone deciding that a machine asking a question is a commercial relationship with terms. Until a carrier does that, publishes the terms, authenticates the caller, prices the query, every efficiency gain just raises the ceiling on how much free-looking the industry absorbs. And the airline that builds that governing layer is not solving a compute bill. It is taking back the thing 30 years of distribution history took away. So the watch item stands, and it just got more specific. First carrier to publish agent terms, authentication, rate limits, and a price for the query. That is still the signal. Nobody has hit it.
And an offer engine that has to answer a machine in real time, at volume, under a policy, is not a shopping problem. It is a core systems problem, which is exactly where the industry just moved its center of gravity. Daniel Friedley at Travel in Motion published the Modern Airline Retailing Outlook the World Aviation Festival has been circulating, and one line in it is doing a lot of quiet work. He argues that vendors and airlines should treat the order management system, not the passenger service system, as the new gravitational center of retailing. And he names the forcing function, a wave of expiring PSS contracts, pushing carriers into decisions they have deferred for years. The vendor field has moved to match. Amadeus positions Nevio as an order management system. Navitaire has IATA 1 order-capable status and unveiled Stratos, an offer and order-native successor to New Skies, cloud-native, with inventory, fares, schedules, and orders in real-time sync. Meanwhile, the money keeps growing. IdeaWorks puts global ancillary revenue at $148.4 billion in 2024, close to 15% of worldwide airline revenue.
So the bull case is that the order finally gets to be the thing everything else hangs off.
And it is a strong one. Everything painful about airline retailing traces back to expressing a modern commercial construct inside a system built around a fare class, a PNR, and an e-ticket. You cannot cleanly say bundle, dynamic price, partial change, or mixed vendor purchase in that vocabulary. An order-native platform can. It holds inventory as flexible components and the customer's commitment as one object you can modify without a fair rule fight. That is what makes dynamic offers and real ancillary optimization possible instead of bolted on. And the timing is the actual news. PSS contracts are the single largest lock-in in airline IT, and expiry is the only moment a carrier has both leverage and budget. That window does not come around often.
And the bear case is the sentence every airline CIO has nightmares about. Say it out loud at a conference and watch 3 of them reach for a drink.
We're going to replace the PSS. It is the most dangerous sentence in airline IT, and it has a body count. These programs run for years, not quarters, and the failure mode is not a clean loss. It is the middle, where the carrier runs a hybrid stack, part legacy PSS, part new OMS, with a reconciliation layer more complex and more fragile than either system alone. Airlines have lived in that middle for 3, 4, 5 years, and notice what is missing. Nobody demos settlement. Nobody demos interline. The offer screen is where the vendor puts the money because the offer screen sells the deal. The accounting is where the transition actually stalls.
Critical take.
The industry just conceded quietly that the PSS was never the center of gravity. The order was, important admission, and almost nobody said it out loud. But here is what I would put in front of a board. Moving to an order-native platform is only worth the risk if the resulting system can answer a machine. If your new OMS still takes half a second to construct an offer and has no way to authenticate an agent, meter it, or price differently for it, then you have spent 4 years and a very large number replacing your back office, and you still cannot compete in the channel that is coming. Order native is necessary, not sufficient. The question for every vendor in that renewal cycle is not, can you handle orders? It is, what happens when 200,000 machine requests arrive for one sale, and how do I govern who gets an answer?
And the honest answer from most of the field is going to be a roadmap slide with a lot of confident arrows on it.
Which is why the renewal window matters so much. You get one conversation with real leverage. Spend it on the right question. 3 narratives, 1 argument. Let me close it, and Steph takes the last word.
Go.
The 3 GDS bets are not bets on the pipe, and they are not the same bet. 2 jobs sit above it, and the question is not who is in which column. Amadeus and Sabre are in both. It is which column each is betting the company on. Amadeus is betting it can own both. Sabre is hedging. Travelport cannot hedge and went all in on the shelf. On our episode 8 watch item, partial credit and a surprise. The first real answer to agent-scale search came from Amadeus, and it was precomputed fares. An engineering answer to a commercial problem. And the move to order-native platforms is the industry conceding the PSS was never the center of gravity. Same story, 3 altitudes. Intermediation is commoditizing, the interface is dissolving, and the value is collecting in the offer layer. Building it, owning the shelf it lands on, and governing who is allowed to ask.
And here is what I would say to someone newer to this industry. For 30 years, the power in this business sat with whoever controlled the pipe between the airline and the traveller. That is why the GDS mattered, why NDC happened, why our 4-part season exists. What changed this month is that the pipe stopped being the scarce thing. Clean, structured access is cheap now. The scarce thing is the offer, a correct, current, governed, machine-readable answer to a specific question from a specific buyer, and the shelf it lands on. Airlines that can produce the offer own half of that. Airlines that cannot will be represented in someone else's answer by whoever can, with no vote on how.
So if you are making distribution decisions right now, change the metric you watch. Booking share by channel told you who won the last 30 years. It will not tell you who wins the next 5. Watch instead for the thing we have now asked for twice. A carrier publishing real agent terms, authentication, rate limits, a price for the query. 8 weeks on, nobody has done it. That is still the single clearest signal that this industry has stopped treating machine demand as weather and started treating it as a customer.
If this was useful, send it to someone making a PSS renewal decision or writing an AI strategy, because those are the same decision now and most organizations still treat them as 2. And if you disagree, on the 3 bets, on whether precomputation is a retreat, on whether order native is worth the risk, reach out. These conversations are better with more informed people in them. And if you missed the state of the GDS season, start there. It is the foundation under all of this.
And if you are the carrier that publishes those terms first, tell us. We will say your name on air, which is worth roughly nothing, but we will say it with feeling.
High praise from a podcast.
We'll be back next Monday. I'm Eric Markets.
I'm Steph Nell. Thanks for listening.
Stay sharp out there.